Coming up, lots of drama today in former President Donald Trump's hush money trial.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The prosecution in Donald Trump's hush money trial has rested, and now the former president's legal team has the case. It was a dramatic day in court as Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney and fixer, admitted under oath to stealing money from the Trump organization, and the judge threatened to throw another witness out of the courtroom. CBS's Erica Brown has the latest.
Former President Donald Trump railed against the hush money criminal case after his attorneys once again requested a dismissal.
This case should be dropped by the judge.
Testimony by Michael Cohen wrapped up after nearly 4 full days. Trump's former fixer admitted to stealing tens of thousands of dollars from Donald Trump and his company. Cohen testified that in 2017, the Trump organization owed a tech company $50,000 and that he paid them about $20,000 in cash but kept the rest. "You stole from the Trump organization, right?" asked Trump attorney Todd Blanche. "Yes, sir," Cohen said.
It may matter a lot to some juror, and it may matter not at all to others. Michael Cohen is such a proven liar that why would it surprise us that he's also a thief?
Cohen defended his actions, saying he was angry his bonus had been cut and felt he was owed the money. "I just felt like it was almost like self-help," he said. With the defense repeatedly calling Cohen's credibility into question, prosecutor Susan Hoffager reminded the jury that Michael Cohen wasn't on trial. There was more drama in the courtroom when the judge reprimanded the defense's first witness for talking over him, rolling his eyes, and making comments under his breath. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
The judge says he expects closing arguments in the case next week. Meanwhile, sources close to Trump tell CBS News it is unlikely he testifies at this point because his team feels relatively good about where things stand, and taking the stand brings too many risks. Well, we are just hours away now from this year's primary election in Kentucky. If you did not vote early, here's what you need to know about voting on Election Day tomorrow. The polls are open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You can look at sample ballots and find your polling location on govote.ky.gov. Let's do a little fact-checking of tomorrow's primary. All of Donald Trump's top opponents for the Republican nomination for president dropped out of the race weeks ago, but they will be on Kentucky's ballot. Trump has easily won nearly every Republican contest so far, but Nikki Haley has won a significant number of votes in several recent primaries, including Maryland and Nebraska. President Joe Biden has 2 opponents in Kentucky. Democrats can also vote for uncommitted, which has attracted protest votes in other states. Voters will also choose between candidates for U.S. Congress, the Kentucky House and Senate, and in some areas, some Commonwealth's attorney races and wet dry votes. Primary turnout is never as high as a general election. Years with presidential primaries generally have better turnout, but with Kentucky having no influence in either party's nominee, turnout tomorrow is expected to be just 15%. You can see all of our election coverage and the latest results tomorrow as they come in on WYMT's News app. That app is free to download from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. Just scan the QR code you see there on your screen. The Israel-Hamas war is a big issue on the presidential campaign trail as President Biden saw firsthand in the crucial battleground state of Georgia, where he gave a commencement address at Morehouse College. Both he and former President Trump are trying to fire up their bases with 6 months to the November election. CBS's Weijia Zhang has the latest.
Over the weekend, as President Biden delivered a commencement address at Morehouse, an all-male historically black college in Georgia, several students refused to stand. Some even turned their backs. Biden acknowledged their feelings about Gaza, as well as challenges here at home.
What does it mean, as we've heard before, to be a black man who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure?
Black voters, especially men, helped Biden win 4 years ago. From Georgia to a campaign stop at the NAACP in Michigan, another critical swing state, Biden made his case against former President Donald Trump.
And you're the reason Donald Trump's going to be a loser again.
In Dallas, Trump focused on his base, too, with a fiery speech at the National Rifle Association convention.
In my second term, we will roll back every Biden attack on the Second Amendment.
Trump boasted about his poll numbers.
Like The Apprentice, Joe, you're fired.
The latest CBS News poll in 2 key states shows Trump leading by 9 points in Florida and 5 points in Arizona, where immigration is a major issue. Many Democrats are urging Biden to talk more about border security, including Michigan Senator Gary Peters.
Absolutely, and that's what a campaign is about, and a campaign to make sure people have that information.
On Monday morning, Biden issued a new statement urging Congress to pass a border bill. He and Trump are preparing to face off in their first debate of 2024, now just about 5 weeks away. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, the White House.
Well, you're tracking some mild and dry weather to close out your Monday, and more summer-like conditions are on the way to go into your primary election day on Tuesday. Let's go to the radar this evening. Not much happening as you head to bed on this Monday evening, all thanks to high pressure that continues to park itself off the eastern coast, and this will bring some more dry conditions for most of us to go into tomorrow. A small chance of a shower by Tuesday, but for most, we're dry, also sunny and warm. Right now, most of us in the 60s and 70s, up to 74. In Jackson, 68 for Somerset, also for London, and down to 72 over in Pikeville at this hour. Most of us wake up in the upper 50s to lower 60s as more dry and calm weather is on the way to go into the overnight hours. Possibly some areas of patchy fog to wake up in the morning, but not too bad to walk out the door on your Tuesday morning commute. And speaking of your Tuesday, some more summer-like weather is looming as highs top out in the middle to upper 80s. A very small chance of a shower, maybe a few sprinkles, but higher rain chances are not far away. All those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
All right, Cameron, thank you. Several law enforcement agencies teamed up to arrest a federal fugitive from Virginia in Laurel County. Authorities say 71-year-old Byron Howard was involved in a pursuit that began in the Keevee area when he left Moberly Bend Road and hit a tree. They say Howard fired 2 shots at police before surrendering. He was taken to the hospital to be treated for cardiac issues. He's facing several charges, including attempted murder of a police officer. He'll be held in the Laurel County Detention Center after he's been released from the hospital. As we first reported last night at 11, a father and son are dead after a fire in Letcher County. On Sunday morning, neighbors say they heard an explosion-like sound. Jerry Martin lives a couple of doors down from the house and says several people tried to help the men out of the home but were unsuccessful. She says their community on Henry Hutton Road is shaken up by the fire.
They are really good people and they're willing to help however they can. And even after the event, neighbors are checking on neighbors to see how they're dealing with having experienced this tragedy.
Martin says they tried breaking windows and breaking down the back door to try and get the men out, but were unsuccessful. Issues continue for some customers of Kinetic by Windstream in Perry County. Service has been spotty at best for days. One downtown Hazard business owner told us she's been without phone service for 10 days. Company officials say they are still working to isolate the issue and still do not have an estimated restoration time. A conference hosted today at the Breaks Interstate Park discussed an interstate effort to clean up the region's rivers. The Central Appalachia Cleanup Conference brought people from West Virginia, and Kentucky to the same table, workshopping plans and programs that could help clean up the Leviza, Russell Fork, and Tug Fork rivers during the next 20 years. The event was all about growing and creating programs from within the attendees' respective communities to help get more public buy-in and make a bigger impact.
But a coordinated long-term approach with is the only path, for success. And in many cases, we believe that that doesn't start with cleanup. You have to invite people in, on their dinner tables and meet with them where they are.
The event included special speakers, work sessions, and lunch for those in attendance. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, how a scholarship in honor of a Kentucky congressman's wife is helping students going into STEM fields.
Plus, we are tracking some more summer-like weather tomorrow. Your Tuesday forecast after this break.